Imagine an armored door in front of you. For years you've stood outside begging to get in, crying, pleading, praying. The door stays closed, not because the universe is cruel, but because you're using the wrong approach. A digital door doesn't open with tears. It needs the correct code. For millennia, we've been taught to approach the divine through supplication. We call this prayer. But the ancient Gnostic masters knew something far deeper. They understood that the universe isn't a whimsical monarch waiting to be impressed by your suffering. It's a divine system waiting to be activated by the correct code. When Jesus raised Lazarus, he didn't kneel, begging for a miracle. He didn't say, "Father, if it is your will, please bring Lazarus back." What he did was far more powerful. He looked to heaven and said, "Father, I thank you that you have heard me." Note the past tense. Before Lazarus even moved, Jesus already knew the connection was complete. He wasn't asking for an external favor. He was acknowledging a connection that was never broken. When he commanded Lazarus, "Come forth," it wasn't a religious ritual. It was a high-precision, metaphysical operation. He was literally reprogramming the matrix of reality. The entities that govern this material realm, the Archons as the Gnostics called them, have worked tirelessly to hide this truth. They need you to remain in the posture of a sinner, a supplicant, because the moment you discover your true power, their game is over. If you're watching this video, it's because the old way of praying has stopped working for you. You feel like someone trying to make an important call, but there's only static on the line. That static isn't a defect, it's a call to awaken. Today we're not going to pray, we're going to make a direct call to the monad, the primordial source of all consciousness. But first, a warning. Once you learn this mechanism, you won't be able to unlearn it. The reality around you will begin to change in ways that can be unsettling for those still asleep. If you're ready to take that risk, let's proceed. To execute the monad call, we first need to eliminate the distorted definition of a miracle that we've been taught since birth. Religious institutions have taught us that a miracle is a violation of natural law, that God breaks his own rules to grant us a special favor. This is a strategic lie designed to keep you powerless. Because if miracles are rare exceptions, then you are just a subject waiting to win the divine lottery. The Gnostic masters understood the physics of the divine completely differently. A miracle isn't a violation of nature, it's the restoration of true nature. Look around you. This realm of entropy, decay, and scarcity is not the original blueprint. It's a simulation built by a lesser architect, the demiurge. As the Gospel of Philip says, the world came into being through an error. You are here to correct that error. When Jesus healed a man's withered hand, he wasn't performing magic. He was overriding the demiurge's corrupted code and restoring the monad's original blueprint. He was asserting that health is the law and sickness is the anomaly. But this raises an uncomfortable question. Why does the monad respond to some calls and ignore millions of others? It's not a matter of deserving or goodness. It's a matter of signal compatibility. There are two types of consciousness occupying this simulation, the helics and the pneumatics. Helics are formed entirely of matter. They are part of the background code of the simulation. They have no internal connection to the source. When they ask, it's like a character inside a video game trying to talk to the console. There's no bridge, no signal. And then there are the pneumatics, the chosen ones. You possess something the simulation cannot generate, the divine spark. You are not from this system, you are only temporarily connected to it. This spark is your antenna. It's a fragment of the monad itself, hidden under layers of social conditioning and spiritual amnesia. When a helic prays, they are begging a stranger. When you make the monad call, you are remembering. The monad doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your own frequency, vibrating within your being. So stop begging for a better place in prison. You are the architect's child, holding the master key, sitting in a cell never designed to contain you. The Archons know this. They can't take your key. They can only make you forget you're holding it. And the first tool they use to induce this amnesia is language. They taught you to ask so you'd forget how to command. The greatest trick the Archons ever pulled was convincing you that power lies in specific words. They love to see you reciting prayers and chanting mantras, laughing as you shout at the sky to no avail. You can stand in a graveyard shouting, "Rise!" until your voice fails and nothing will rise but dust. Why? Because the call isn't a script, it's a state of being. To break through the firewall of this reality, your consciousness must simultaneously hold three specific frequencies. These are the encryption keys: recognition, authority, and command. The first key is recognition. We need to be precise here. Recognition is not belief. Belief is for the blind. Recognition is a biological event. It's the sudden chill down your spine when you awaken inside a dream and realize, wait, I'm sleeping in my bed. This monster is just a projection. The fear disappears. The dream no longer owns you. That's recognition. The visceral feeling of remembering that you are the monad, temporarily wearing a biological suit. Once recognition takes hold, you activate the second key, authority. This is where most people fail. They recognize their divine nature, but still speak like servants. They say, "Universe, please show me a sign." Jesus didn't negotiate with hunger. He didn't ask the storm for permission to calm down. He operated as a sovereign. Authority isn't arrogance, it's physics. Matter vibrates at a low frequency. You, the monad, vibrate at the source frequency. You don't ask the clay what shape it wants to be. You mold it not with force, but with the silent certainty of the potter. The clay has no choice but to yield to the hands that formed it. This leads to the final key, command. True power is often silent. Command is simply the alignment of your desire with the truth of the monad. You're not forcing reality to change. You're collapsing the timeline where the problem exists and selecting the timeline where the solution is already natural law. Jesus, before the tomb, recognized his origin, assumed authority over death, and issued the command. It was a circuit closing. The current flowed, and the laws of entropy were temporarily suspended. Most of you are walking around with a broken circuit. Today we stop shooting in the dark. We load the chamber. Now we move into practice. Don't just listen to these words, perform them as you hear them. The primary weapon the Archons use to block your call is noise. They bombard your mental frequency with static. Anxiety about tomorrow, guilt about yesterday. This is intentional interference technology. They know if your mind is chaotic, your signal is weak. To make the monad call, you must first get off the air. Step 1, the disconnect. You don't fight thoughts. Fighting them only gives them energy. You simply shift your attention. Imagine you're standing on a busy road with traffic rushing by. Instead of trying to stop the cars with your hands, you simply turn and walk into the forest. Take a deep breath. Let the noise exist behind you, but refuse to engage with it. Step 2, the displacement. Most of you live trapped on the upper floor of your house, behind your eyes in the cerebral cortex. The monad does not dwell in the brain. The brain is a processor. The heart center is the generator. You must physically move. Visualize an elevator inside your spine. Step into it, press the button for the ground floor. Feel yourself descending through your throat, your chest, coming to a complete rest behind your sternum. Step 3, the resonance. Breathe here. This is the throne room. It is silent. It is vast. In this space, you don't think about who you are. You feel your ancient signature. Ask internally, without seeking a verbal answer. What was I before I was named? Don't answer with logic, just wait. Feel the sensation that arises in response to the question. It might feel like a subtle vibration, a sudden calm, or a sense of immense space expanding. That presence is the monad. It is the part of you that was never born and can never die. When you feel this shift, when the frenetic energy of the mind is replaced by the golden, heavy, solid presence, you're on the line. The line is open. You are no longer a human trying to reach a god. You are the infinite re-inhabiting your vessel. Maintain this state. Without this specific resonance, words are just noise. But with this resonance, a whisper becomes a decree. From this place of deep silence, centered in your chest, you initiate the sequence. If possible, speak aloud. Voice is resonance made audible, and resonance is the carrier wave of life force. Here is the protocol. It is not a request, it is a status report followed by a directive. Say this, feeling each word vibrate in your gut. Monad, I am here. I claim the authority that is mine by nature. The illusion of this limitation is dissolved. The alignment is commanded. It is done. Simple, surgical, absolute. Then comes the hardest part. You must release it. Imagine holding a heavy stone over a deep well. You let it go. You don't hold the stone as it falls. You don't jump in after it to see if it hit the water. You release it completely. Don't look back. Just as Lot's wife turned into a pillar of salt, looking back at the problem solidifies it. Look only at the solution. But hear me well. This is where the war begins. The moment you complete the call, the Matrix will detect a breach. The Archons operate like an immune system for this artificial reality. When they sense a creator trying to overlay code, they send antibodies to neutralize the threat. These antibodies don't look like monsters. They look like your own thoughts. Within minutes, a wave of doubt will hit you. You'll hear the internal voice. This is ridiculous. Nothing happened. Who do you think you are? Make no mistake, this is not you, it's the shutdown. It's the system trying to lower your frequency back to the level where the problem exists. If you engage with these thoughts, if you start arguing with them, you disconnect the call, you abort the upload. When doubt comes, and it will, treat it like bad weather outside a window. You see the rain, but you don't get wet. You simply observe it and say, I see the interference. That means the signal got through. Remain in your place in the silence. The call has been launched. The reconfiguration of reality is already in motion. Trust the mechanics, not the magic. Once you have defeated the shutdown and held your ground, you enter the latency period. This is the period between your call and the materialization of the call. Most of the chosen fail here. They look for the full miracle immediately. When they don't see it, they think the call failed. But you must understand, the monad doesn't work like a vending machine. It works like a construction crew. Before a new building can rise, the old ground must be cleared. You need to know how to read the feedback loop. When the monad begins to rewrite the demiurge's program, reality starts to destabilize. These destabilizations are the receipts that your command was accepted. Observe 3 specific signs. The first sign is the collapse. This is the most terrifying sign. You call for abundance and suddenly get an unexpected bill. You call for love and the relationship ends. Don't panic. This is not punishment, it's demolition. You can't install new cabinets in a room full of rubble. The monad aggressively clears the space for your request. When things fall apart after a call, don't try to fix them. Let them burn. The more they burn, the more the new structure rises. They are fuel for what is to come. The second sign is the echo. You will see patterns like 111, 333, or 555. But look deeper. You will hear strangers saying the exact phrase you used in your call. Algorithms will serve you videos answering questions you haven't even formulated. These are rendering artifacts. It's reality reorganizing itself around your new frequency. Acknowledge them with a nod. Say, I see you. The third and most powerful sign is neutrality. Suddenly you stop worrying whether the miracle happens or not. The despair disappears. Why? Think of it like ordering a package online. Once you click buy, you don't stand at the front door yelling for the mailman. You don't pace back and forth wondering if the store even exists. You know it's coming, so you go back to living your life. This detachment is the ultimate proof. It means your internal state has already shifted to the timeline where the problem is resolved. When you feel this neutrality, celebrate. The download is complete. The physical manifestation is now just a matter of time, aligning with the truth. Religious institutions distorted this teaching for a simple reason. It makes them obsolete. If you can pick up the phone and call the source directly, you don't need to wait to talk to the middleman. You don't need a priest to translate your truth. You don't need a ritual to buy God's attention. You simply need to remember who you are. The Archons and religious systems rely on the same fuel, your sense of smallness. They need you to believe you're a biological accident wandering through a hostile universe. But every time you successfully make the monad call, you prove them wrong. You prove that reality isn't fixed, it's fluid and responds to your language. You are now in possession of the codes. The question is, will you use them? This week, before the next crisis hits, test the line. Don't wait for desperation. Find your silence. Descend the elevator to your heart. Feel the ancient fire and speak. Monad, I am here. I am listening. I am ready. If you are ready to walk this path, I need you to seal this transmission with 3 actions. First, leave a comment below saying, I activate the monad. This isn't for the algorithm. It's your first act of physical command, anchoring your intention in this reality. Second, hit the like button. Think of it as lighting a signal fire. This tells the digital currents to find other chosen ones and guide them to this truth. We're building a network and your signal matters. Third, subscribe. We're going deeper into the Gnostic mysteries, uncovering consciousness technologies that have been hidden for centuries. You don't want to be left behind when the next seal is broken. The age of the sinner is over. The age of the sovereign has begun. You are no longer seeking miracles. You are becoming the place where miracles happen. Trust the silence. Trust the knowing. The line is open. Don't hang up. If this knowledge has awakened the divine spark within you and changed how you perceive reality, subscribe and leave your like. We are revealing the wisdom they tried to erase from history. Claim your power and seed the future. The next mystery will be revealed soon.